Hey, welcome to Blue Jay Banner, sponsored by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. West Pacific Dental Group and Dr. Robert Hogan and Infusion Brewery. I was just talking with Ryan at the Infusion a few minutes ago, and he's doing some stuff for the golf tournament in less than 2 weeks away. So that's exciting. Ross, I hear you got another Jay to join your foursome. Did you hear this?
Yeah, I'm the one that asked him.
Oh, okay. Beautiful. Well, Grant said he was going to ask him, so that's why I said ask him.
Yeah, Grant and I texted back and forth, and yeah, we asked Matt. So yeah, that should be a fun foursome, and should be a fun
It'd
time.
be a
Hopefully,
blast playing with Murph.
yeah, hopefully the weather cooperates. I can't imagine it could be any hotter than it was when we had it last year, but
No.
we'll see.
I know we got beautiful weather right now, and I looked at the extended, and they said there's a day next week where it's going to be 100. And I'm like, are you kidding me? But then they took that away and they lowered it down some. So Murph
No, it
is
should
in
be fun.
Murph is in rare form. So I played with him last Tuesday, and he started off playing really well, and going along, and then he got in the back nine, hit a few bad shots. He goes, man, I hate this game.
That was
Uh,
like I played with my brother out at Indian Creek yesterday, and he never ever plays. It was his first time playing all year, and he lost a few balls first couple holes and was just all over the place and was moaning about how he hates the game. And then all of a sudden he had a par and he was all excited again. And 2 holes later, same story, and he's back to hating the game and he doesn't want to play again this year. So that's it'll do that to you.
you probably lost the ball an inch off the fairway if it's Indian Creek.
Yeah, the rough was thick. That's what I
Brutal,
noticed very quickly there.
brutal. Well, welcome to the show. We're excited. We're going to talk a little bit about our golf tournament here in a minute. We efforted Jackson McAndrew. He's got a busy week. He's hoping to do it here in the next couple of weeks here, one of these next weeks. So I don't know if we're going to have a show next week, but maybe the following week we can get Jackson on and talk about his commitment to Creighton, which would be exciting.
Absolutely.
But besides the golf tournament, we're going to dig deep into these first two games. They were on Flow Sports. I broke down and signed us, got a subscription going. So be a good time of year though, because you can watch a lot of volleyball on there. Kind of keep track of the volleyball and soccer teams. So um, we'll break down everything that went on in the first two games and kind of tell you about who looked good, who looked okay, and where some of the strengths of the teams are, and where some things that they need to still work on. But first, I want to talk about the golf tournament. So, golf tournament's August 19th. It's getting close. You're less than 2 weeks away, but you still have a chance to sign up. So, I put something out on Twitter today. If you sign up a foursome this week, I'm going to give you some extra raffle tickets. So, make sure to check out our Twitter. It's on there. Check it out. Sign up. You only got till Friday, though. Then we got to shut down the sign-ups and get everything over to the golf course to get ready for the tournament. So make sure you do that. There's still time. Uh, check it all out. We have so many great prizes. This is probably our dollar-wise. This is probably our biggest prize package we've ever had, which is saying something because we've had some pretty good ones. But we got the grand prize of the raffle is a brand spanking new Paradigm driver. $600 driver. There you go. And then runner prize will be a huge gift certificate to gift card to Top Golf. So that's a blast to go there. I went and ate at Top Golf the other day, the first time. Excellent food. Excellent.
I think I've just had a couple of little appetizer bites there, and I remember them being good.
Yeah, yeah. So we've got hybrids, we got putters, tons of really top of the line Odyssey putters, either on pin prizes or raffles or silent auction items. We have so many trips and resort stays. We've got a 4-night cruise as one of our pin prizes. We also have another 4-night cruise as a silent auction item. Along a different silent auction item is a 7-day resort stay at, you get to pick from like hundreds of resorts around the country. And then we added another prize, a 6-night stay at a private home on the Big Island. You're like 2 blocks from the ocean. You're right. It's so cool because you're not in a touristy area, but you're so close to the volcanic activity. Like you don't have to drive very far to be able at night to see the lava coming down. It's really cool. And to go out to the ocean where you got the lava, banks along the edge of the ocean and watch the sun come up in the morning is just it's priceless. So we got those 3 huge trips in our silent auction. We got a really sweet Creighton golf bag this year. We got some Creighton head covers. We're going to get lined up with tickets. So all the normal stuff is going to be there. You get a chance to golf with the coaches again to sign up for that. So check it all out. Go to BlueJayBanners/golf and sign up today. All that, and then we got a great lunch at Dodge Park Riverside after the round. So we're having a Dodge Riverside. They have a fantastic clubhouse, a lot of room, nice and cool if the weather's hot. So check it all out. BlueJayBanners/golf and sign up. You only have a few days left, so sign up, and you're not going to be disappointed. Oh, and what am I forgetting? We have Coach Murfeld is going to play golf with Ross, and then he's going to stick around and answer some questions, give a little speech about the team, what happened in the Bahamas, and you'll have a chance to ask about certain players, but you can only do that if you sign up for the golf tournament. So sign up. Okay, so let's move on to the Bahamas. Kind of a tale of 2 games. A tale of, I believe, 2 different opponents. First opponent, raw talent, was from the Bahamas. They didn't have a lot of talent, frankly. They had like 1 or 2 Division II, Division III guys, and that was about it. And of course, Creighton beat them by 53 whopping points.
Yeah,
and you know what? It was a big rout when a walk-on at center, who would be your 3rd-string center, has a double-double. Brock Weiss, 12 points, 10 rebounds. What a game!
Good.
He looked great. He looked fantastic.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Good for Bryce or
Yeah.
Brock. Excuse me, Brock Weiss.
Yeah. Brock Weiss. So tip of the cap to him. Great effort there. Trey, the first game, Trey was a little bit off. I think the first person I focused on, obviously, because he had the ball in his hands, was Ashworth. This is kind of different. So last year, when I'm watching him play in the Mountain West, I'll get your opinion on this too, Russ. So when I watched him against Utah State, they said he was 6'1". I watched him out there and I thought, he's kind of seems, if anything, bigger than 6'1". Just the way he played and so forth. He pops up on the screen in the Bahamas, and I went, wow, he looks small. And I've talked to some of the coaches, and they said, yeah, we're kind of worried, like a little bit when he gets against bigger guards, and and I'm thinking, gee, San Diego State had some pretty decent sized guards. He didn't seem to have much of a problem, but I see what they mean now that it's weird. It's just perception, and I don't know whatever. But a really good ball handler, and in a game when you win by 53 points. It's real easy to go out there and just start jacking shots up, right? He didn't do that. He was looking for his teammates all the time. And through the first 2 games, him and Trey have 20 assists.
That's pretty darn good.
That's pretty impressive.
Trey looks good. Trey looks bigger. In the videos I've seen, he looks more filled out. He looks confident. Trey is really. I think I saw he was maybe 2nd or 3rd on Sam Vecini from the Athletics of Big East guys, 2nd or 3rd of Big East guys on his kind of next top 60 for next year's draft. So it was like maybe he was like a 17th overall or something like that. So I mean, a lot of people were expecting a big year from Trey.
Yeah, he was 4 of 15 the first game, so he really struggled. But the second game, he was 7 of 16, 13 of 14 from the free throw line, and 29 points. and I'm going to get to some things about him later. But anyway, Ashford showed up. His shooting ability, obviously. I thought his defense was good. Mac even commented on his defense in the after the game. That's the first game. But I really don't want to talk too much about the first game. I'd want to get more into the second game and overall view. Second game was against, I have a hard time pronouncing this, Zalgiris of Lithuania. They got beat pretty badly by South Carolina. I think it was a 25-point game, their first game. But they came right out of the gate, shot lights out. And granted, Creighton didn't play very good defense. And this is an exhibition game, okay? So let's not get crazy. But that did kind of concern me because I was looking for more consistency from this group. And now if we're going to go back to that, well, some halves we play good defense, some we don't. We kind of got over that last year where it was pretty consistent. We gave up 25 points in the first quarter. They're going by the quarter system over there.
Yeah.
So that was tough. But the last three quarters, they held them 37 points. So some of that was good defense. Some of that was good defense. Some of that was poor shooting. But hey, whatever, right? They turned it around. Kalkbrenner was really a force. Let's see. Ryan had 5 blocks and altered several other shots. I thought Ryan, his handle wasn't very good. He just wasn't able to corral a lot of balls he usually does.
Yeah, had 3 turnovers.
Yeah, he got some, and he had a couple blocked inside. He just was a little bit loose with the ball. Just kind of went up nonchalantly.
These minutes are kind of scattered a little bit. I was so confused on Baylor, but then I saw he fouled out.
Yeah, he was on the bench a lot in that game. He was had 4 fouls, and he sat on the bench quite lengthy bit of time. That's the other thing that killed Creighton. The other thing we talked about was consistency, right? We've been talking about that all summer. 5 of 26 from 3, It just appeared to me that they came out, even though they said after the game, Ashford said, hey, we knew this was going to be a better team, da-da-da-da. They just didn't appear to me to they came out ready to play. And they kind of got punched in the face a little bit there to start the game. And they said, okay, we got to, let's go.
They're in the Bahamas. It's kind of a team bonding deal. I get it.
Totally understandable.
The thing is, obviously these are exhibition games. It's not, but this isn't life or death stuff by any stretch. But you do look at this bench again, and you kind of say to yourself, okay, where's the scoring going to come from? Obviously, Fred King has 10 points off the bench here, but Fred's game's a little bit different. He's going to get he's going to get different offensive rebounds, and he's going to get lobs and putbacks, things of that nature. So you kind of look from a guard standpoint, and you say, who's going to give us some juice here off the bench? And that's where you really hope that Fran takes a step forward in that level this year. Maybe we see Jonathan Lawson, able to keep his cool and play a little bit more in a game and show what he can do offensively. But that's going to be something interesting to watch going forward. Jason Green playing 13 minutes and not even attempting a shot is a tad bizarre. I think you'd like him to probably be a little bit more aggressive. Again, I didn't watch the game. I don't know the specifics but 13 points off the bench for a kid that, that the coaches have been excited about. I mean, you got to at least, be a little bit aggressive offensively.
Yeah, he didn't really have an opportunity to score, if that makes any sense. He just wasn't in a position. I'll tell you what, though. I think it was in the first game. He had a great block and showed off his athletic. I mean, the block was right at the rim. Like the guy looked like it was an easy lay-in, and he just went up and rejected it. It was pretty impressive. Yeah, when he got in there, another guy, off the walk-on crew, Sterling Knox looked very good.
Okay.
Um, gosh, he only had.
He's only played
Oh, he
4
did not
minutes.
score in the first game.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
looking
I
at this
thought he looked
Honduras
good.
game.
Yeah, he only scored 2 points in the second game, but I thought he looked pretty good. But he had Shane Thomas out there. He had Dotzler out there with him some. They played Ashworth with some of those guys, to kind of have a point guard out there. Um, so yeah, and plus, when you're up by 50, they're kind of like chilling out a little bit. A guy that I had heard a lot about, Josh Townley Thomas.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
been
kid from
very
Prep.
impressive in practice. Didn't get a lot of run. He didn't play in the second game and only played a few minutes in the first game. So we didn't get a
That's
really
all right. They
chance.
got a lot of guys that are getting some minutes in there. So
But
it's
flipping back to Fred, uh, Fred had 22 points and 15 rebounds in his 2 games. The first game, he's playing against the Bahamas team, and you could kind of tell there was a little extra juice to Fred, but Fred looked great. He really did. Both games, he came in and really played well. But again, we're talking, you mentioned it's only exhibition. I just saw a score pop across. Kansas played the Bahamas national team and got beat.
yeah,
So,
I saw that too.
so there you go.
Now the Bahamas national team has Buddy Hield, who is a pretty
right,
pretty
exactly.
good NBA player, but yeah, they happen. I mean, there's there's some really good talents overseas
I could
in
see
some of these
Fred playing
leagues.
for that team someday.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. I just saw, speaking of other teams overseas, I just saw a tweet. I don't know if you saw this, Tim. This is 5 hours ago. I'm seeing this right now on Twitter. Dan Hurley getting teed up and then threatening to take his team off the court because of how bad the refs are in an exhibition game on a different continent is the most Dan Hurley shit ever. I'd take a bullet for this
Where was
man.
it? Where are they playing?
I don't even know.
Are you kidding me?
He is so deranged.
I mean,
And I say
to
that
Mac's credit,
almost an
okay.
endearing way because I actually like Dan Hurley.
So these refs look like they had no clue in the 2 games that Craig played. To Mac's credit, I never saw him even remotely get on thing. But at any rate, so we talked with Ashworth, so that was kind of the thing to look for, and but between he and Trey, there was something I heard like Ashworth, Kalkbrenner, Schreierman. Those 3 guys are all about winning. That's all they care about.
Right.
And they've permeated that culture through this whole team already. And not to say that Trey was selfish, because he wasn't, but the coaches have already noticed him, giving up, the ball when other times he might have tried to make something happen. So that's just going to be a plus. The second thing, of course, everybody's looking at is the 4, right? Mason Miller, Isaac Trout. First game, Miller started. Let's see, minute-wise, Miller got 12 minutes. Trout got 13, so pretty even there. Second game, Trout started. And Miller, they both got pretty even minutes in that game as well. But I thought the first game, I thought Mason looked really good. I thought Trout just kind of struggled to get in the flow a little bit. He's been really struggling shooting the basketball in practice, but they're not at all worried because his stroke is so good. And when you watch him shoot, it's really good. He looked much better the second game. He had 7 points, only 1 rebound. I think for his size, he's got to be garnering more boards. Because Lithuania they weren't small. They weren't as big as Creighton, but they were much bigger than the Bahamas team. So that kind of gave Creighton a little bit, like Max said, it was good to have a challenge. After that first game, we needed a little bit of a challenge, to go out there and play a game that was somewhat competitive. And Lithuania came right out like just lights out. I would
Mm-hmm.
like to know what they shot. So from three, I don't have it for me, but they came out lights out because they had a guy go, let's see, 3-pointers. They went 2 for 5. No, that's about it. Then they really cooled off. They could not throw it in the ocean the last 3 quarters. But they came out and made a bunch of them right off the bat, and I got them out to an 8-point lead. And then Creighton kind of had to struggle to get back. They were kind of in a rock fight there for a while. Um, yeah, where do I think this is going to land? I have no idea. I mean, basically, Mason has to play with the passion, rebounding loose balls like he can, because then he seems to get every ball, right? And continue to knock down those wide open threes. Uh, he hit 2 of 4 in that first game. So he just continues to do that. Isaac's got to show he can guard when we get into the season the more athletic fours that we're going to face. Now, we're not going to face Prosper anymore, but a guy like that, okay?
Right.
We would have had like last year Whitmore and, players like that, even though Whitmore's probably more of a 3. But at any rate,
Mm-hmm.
and again, he's got to just knock down shots. He's got the shot. He's got a great form. And he's got, for his size, he's got to pull down some rebounds and be a little more aggressive in there as well. So that's going to be a battle. Really, it's going to be interesting. Another guy that's kind of ahead of schedule, they feel, is Dotzler.
Yeah.
Probably didn't show it these first 2 games, but, he had a couple of turnovers, but came in and did a nice job. He was 2 for 6 in the big route game. He was 0 for 2 in the other game. But he's much, at least, I don't know how they measure up, but he looks way bigger than Josh, way bigger.
Yeah, he is. He's a big kid.
And somebody that, you can really grow around. So, you started that first game, you start to see all these freshmen. You're like, wow, these kids are pretty good. You mentioned Lawson. So now I want to get to him. So the first game he comes out, Creighton was struggling. They were down. He comes out, he hits 3 threes in a row. And I had heard,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't practicing all that great, hadn't looked all that great. He looked like $1,000,000. He went 4 for 6 from 3 and really, kind of made without those threes. Let me tell you, it'd have been a dogfight at the end. Got some hustle plays, got some rebounds, got some steals. I mean, I just thought, wow, I'm very impressed with him. Second game, a little bit less. Now, let's get to what you mentioned earlier. So, as foreign teams often do, they talk a lot of crap. Foreign teams just do. They're a little bit chippy at times, and that's what I noticed early on in that game. I thought, this game could get, if this stays close, this could get, as physical as it was, it could get a little crazy. I don't know what was said. It looked like one guy shoved him in the back hit him in the back on the free throw line. There was some talking going on. There was some talking by their assistant coaches. But somebody hit him and then he retaliated. And, basically it was just a little bit of a pushing match there.
Yeah.
That to me wasn't concerning. None of it was concerning. He's walking back and the guy said something to him again and he kind of went at him and some guys pulled him away. That didn't even bother me. But when he got with Coach Mack puts his arm around him and he kind of like pushes his arm off and, just wanted to get away. And Coach Mack said, no, you need to sit down here, okay, and keep your cool. And that part of it, I think, was what fans jumped on. I saw it on Twitter and so forth that, hey, Mack's going to have a little sit down with you. You can't be that way on the court because if you're going to play meaningful minutes, you're going to be in some high intensity games in the Big East, and that stuff's going to go on.
Yeah, he'll figure out the right way to do things. I mean, I think he's a really talented kid, and this is not to say that they've had a little bit of success. Penny Hardaway has at Memphis, but I think this is something that as well. I mean, this has just been talked about in circles in the college basketball world. I don't think they're the most disciplined program on the planet.
That would be true.
And what they do. So, maybe he needs to he comes to a program like us where there's kind of a culture that's been established for max 13 plus years here now, and getting him integrated into that sort of thing. And maybe we're all looking into it too much too,
Oh, we
in the
are.
sense of
No doubt about
he
that.
the
No
kid, the
doubt
kid
about
just ran
that.
hot. He's a young kid, and guys were talking, and he retaliated, and it is what it is. So he'll be fine. It's an exhibition. I've heard good things about Jonathan, and I've heard he's a good kid, and I've heard he's a good player with a good work ethic and practice, and so I'm excited to kind of watch his development.
I can't wait to go watch a practice because I think maybe I'm way off here. Okay. But just by watching these two games, um, when they're not mixing and matching, whites and blues against each other. Okay. When they're just
Mhm.
basically going with the starting core and first bench players against these guys seem to, I think, will pay dividends because they have a little bit of talent. And, with Vice in there, you got some size, you got guys that are versatile like Jason
Yep.
Green, and, Dotzler and, Sterling Knox and Shane Thomas. I mean, you got a bunch of guys in there that, you know, I think of the great teams I've seen. This is probably one of the better bench cores, practice cores that they're going to have going forward.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, I would agree.
we should mention that if you're planning to watch the game tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock on Flow Sports again, they play Argentina. I'm guessing this Argentina team's somewhere in between these two teams they played, or maybe closer to the Lithuania team. Uh, a nice thing to have going on tomorrow, though, is Trey is in Portland, Oregon. He's not there. He's at the Nike Skills Academy in
I
Portland.
did not know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so he took off right after the game Sunday, flew back home, flew out to
He took
Portland.
off and went home, huh?
Well, went out to Portland. So yeah, so he's out there for that. So he's not going to be at the team tomorrow. So Max said, well, it'll be interesting. We get a chance to see what our team would look like without Trey. He goes, I sure heck we don't have that happen. But
Right.
it'll be interesting. So you've got Ashworth, Baylor. Now who's that third guy? Probably Farabello, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Yeah. I would
Could
assume
they
so.
would they experiment with Mason and Trout on the floor?
I think you could.
Especially in something like this.
Yeah, I think you absolutely could. I mean,
Where
Isaac's a
you
big kid.
where you're probably Isaac, Isaac's probably frankly more of a 5 than a 4, really. I mean, he's big enough to play inside. I just wonder, Mason at the 3, in the Big East, that would maybe
Right.
cause some problems just from a defensive standpoint. Now, would
Right.
they have maybe some problems on the other end because of his size? Sure. But that would be probably, but in a game like this, it probably would be a great time to test that out,
Yeah. No, I
see what
agree.
Mason could do. They may go small too. Bring in Dotzler, have Ashworth, Dotzler, and then Baylor. Mix it up a little bit, see what the team looks like that way. But I think it would be fair to say, and I don't know the exact percentage, but Trey and Steven played on the ball and off the ball about equal amounts of time in my book. Ashworth was very eager and willing to turn the ball over to Trey and let him run the show and go, quote unquote, play the 2. So,
As he should.
um,
I mean, we'd have issues there if Ashford wasn't smart enough to realize Trey's Trey's a dog and you need to get him the ball.
yeah. But you mentioned the referees. Yeah, there were some calls. I have no clue why they're calling that or what they're calling. They seem to call a lot of travels. I'm like, boy, we should get those guys in college basketball reffing all the
Yeah.
time. The other thing, the guy who did the play, he did it by himself. Did the play by? I thought he was great for. I thought you're going to get somebody from Bahamas that really didn't know basketball. This guy was pretty good. I thought. He was great with
You're
pronunciations
saying
and
the
was
flow
on top of
sports
the
guy.
game. What's that?
You're saying the flow sports guy.
Yeah, I'm sure it was just some guy that was at the Bahamas that could do float.
Yeah.
So yeah, was kind of interesting. Good contingent of Jays fans there. Even
Yeah, I was
loud,
kind of
much
curious.
louder than when Bahamas played. When the Bahamas team played, Jays fans are much louder. So it'd been a
Good,
nice
good.
little trip for 6 days.
Oh God, that sounds fantastic. It sounds a heck of a lot better than sitting around Omaha all August. I'll tell you that.
Oh, the weather's been great, Ross.
I mean,
Last week the weather's been awesome.
I wouldn't go so far as to say awesome, Tim. It's been better than it's typically been in August, but
Well, what do you mean?
we were
What's
also on
wrong?
the back. What's that?
What's wrong? What was wrong with the weather the last week?
Well, it's been rainy. It's been
Yesterday.
rainy.
Yesterday was kind of misted on and off. Yeah. That was the only day. Otherwise, there's been not really any rain during the days. Not much anyway. Like Tuesday was great. Like Thursday night was awesome. Thursday night was beautiful, actually. Yeah.
There's been some nice nights.
Anyway, 10 o'clock tomorrow, they play Argentina. So check it out on Full Sports. Be your last chance to see the Jays. And then they, according to Mac, they don't practice again then until late September. So when they get back on the floor as a team. So I think coaches will take some much deserved time off. I'm sure some guys will go
Speaking
out
of
and
speaking of foreign teams and tournaments and Creighton and I was going through the FIBA World Cup starts in 3 weeks. So just like there's a World Cup of soccer, there's a World Cup for basketball, and that starts in 3 weeks. So Team USA is pretty young, some talented guys, but it's pretty young. Actually, 3 Villanova guys on the team. Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, and Mikal Bridges are all on the team.
who's coaching?
Steve Kerr.
Okay. Oh,
And
that's right. That's right. I saw it.
I'm the other night I'm going through a lot of the different rosters. I'm just kind of hanging out on my couch and going through some of these different countries' rosters. And Sam Froling is on the Australia team.
Is it really?
And I'll tell you what, too, Australia's good. They've got a lot of NBA guys on their team, and Sam's on that team. And I think Sam has made a pretty darn good living playing in the NBL, is what they call it, the National Basketball League over there in Australia, which is a very good league, well respected league overseas. I think he's really kind of come into his own over there. So good for him. He's only here a year. He was kind of a guy off the bench that would flash some things sometimes, but was still a freshman kind of learning and was playing kind of backups minutes. And sounds like he's really kind of made a name for himself.
Well, truth be known, I mean, the reason Sam was not a Creighton had nothing to do with his basketball skills. I mean, I think he would have been a star had he stayed all 4 years. He hated school.
Oh yeah, no, exactly.
He hated school, and
the
when he
reason he
found out
left,
he could make
yeah, the
money
reason he
playing
left is
basketball, see
yeah,
you later.
he
Yeah,
just
he was
wanted to go
gone.
back home and play professionally. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
fault him. It's a different,
I
different
think
culture for those guys. I
absolutely,
get it.
absolutely. I always thought that he would have been a really, really good player here, Creighton. Really good. Some people were like disappointed, and I was like, he's only a freshman, man. I mean,
Tim, if you want some hoops action tonight, 9 p.m. Fox Sports One, Team USA plays Puerto Rico in a exhibition
in a FIBA,
in a FIBA exhibition. Fox
Who's
Sports.
on from Villanova?
That's what I just said. The team, the three
No,
guys
who's on the team from Villanova?
on Team USA.
Yeah, who is it? What players?
I said it. Maybe it didn't come through.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart,
Oh,
Mikal Bridges.
oh, okay. Wow, not exactly schmucks there.
No, pretty good.
Because Bridges is with who now?
He's with the Nets, Brooklyn Nets.
Okay. And Brunson's with
the other two are on the Knicks.
Knicks. Okay. Yes. Yes. Whether they just fly them all out of New York. So they just take all the players from New York. So anyway. So that's great. Okay. Any other thoughts?
No, I mean, I hope the guys are having fun,
Looked like they were. Saw a
enjoying
deal
themselves
yesterday.
down
They were on
there.
a boat.
Yeah, I mean, they
Is
do
that today?
a lot of fun stuff.
Yes.
Matt Dorr and I were kind of joking with Coach Mack a couple of weeks ago. We kind of hung out with him for a bit at
Came down.
Antoine Young's wedding, and we were joking with him about if they're staying at the same resort that we stayed at back in the day. That was a little bit more, how do I say this, lower budget maybe. And he was kind of laughing. He's like, "No, we've upgraded from that."
Okay, so you're going to drop names, Ross. All right, Antoine Young's wedding. This is kind of a big deal.
Antoine, yeah,
Creighton
Antoine got married.
royalty.
Yeah,
Wow. Well, that's fantastic. Got married here in Omaha.
it was in Kearney.
Oh, wow. So you married someone from Kearney?
I'm not sure if she's from there, but they met there, and yeah, so a few of us went. I was
How
out
did
there.
how was Antoine connected to Kearney?
Well, Antoine's an assistant coach at University of Nebraska Kearney.
Oh, I didn't know that. Had
Yeah,
no idea.
yep, he
Okay.
has been for a few years now. So,
Oh, good for him.
yeah, a few of us went out there. Dora and I, Doug was there, Jahans was there, Greg Riachinike was there, and Coach Mack. So
Wow. So Doug came back
good
for
little
Antoine's wedding. That's big time.
good little crew.
That's big time. Yeah, that must have been a fun time.
We enjoyed ourselves. Yeah, it was good. It was good. Yeah.
Who else? Anybody else? You see anybody else? Any other Creighton stars there? But that's pretty good. That's a pretty good portfolio
No,
right
that's the
there.
crew.
Jahans,
That was literally
you, Doug,
that was
Dorward.
the crew. I mean, I think there would have been maybe more had the wedding have been in Omaha, but yeah, I think for a wedding 3 hours away, we had a nice little crew there
You
supporting
know
Antoine.
what? You know what? I mean, we talk all the time about Coach Mack. I, I mean, just like that. How many coaches would do that? I mean, it wasn't like the wedding was down the street. It's a ways
Yeah,
out to Kearney.
I agree.
For a guy, what he Mac only had him 1 year, right?
Two.
Two. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, in the middle of a busy time for Mac, you know, and he goes all the way up to Kearney to go to his wedding. When it's somebody's birthday, okay, you wake up in the morning and on your phone is Mac wishing somebody, a former player, a happy birthday. If they were the 15th guy on the team, if they were his star, okay. Kevin Sarver had an interesting tweet the other day. He goes, "Well, just like the last 14 years, the very first text I get this morning is from Mac wishing me a happy birthday." The
He's
guy
good at birthdays.
is
No
great.
doubt.
That's awesome. I mean, he's just that way. Just that way. So, all right. So, tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, don't forget. I'm gonna take a little, break from work. Check out the game.
It does sound nice. I will say that.
I will have the game up probably on my laptop.
Yeah, I got to get maybe another screen going in the office. Get it going.
Okay, so we will have a show next week. As we said, we'll try and effort. Jackson said he thinks next week would be better, so we'll see if we can get him on next week, and we will wrap up what they did at Game 3, which is played tomorrow, and we'll have some other nuggets for you as well. So there you are. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Ross. Thanks, Zach.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week.
See ya.